Yo, what's up guys? Fireheart318 here with another episode of KSP Air Race. This time, we're gonna be flying at the Black Krags Air Race. What plane is it? I'm in the Weasley Racer built by, I can't actually pronounce that, J. Frolio. I really hope I pronounced that right. I don't think I did. But yeah. We've passed the starting line and are approaching the first gate. I'm gonna try and take a bit of a wide line, rolling to the right, just to, get a little farther over to reduce the speed, to reduce the angle, velocity loss. And keep it as low to the ground as I can to try and squeeze a little more thrust out of this engines. It's a really fun and easy plane to fly, I'm finding. Unlike last time, I haven't actually tried these craft out beforehand, so yeah, it's a pleasant surprise to find something I can actually fly on my first try. Just going toward the ground again. And this is probably leading up to the hardest part. I haven't actually flown here in a while, but I can remember a little bit. Valentina seems to be liking it though. Just gonna fly around this hill instead of cutting through it, cause, yup, just as I thought, there's a bit of a drop. So I ascended a little there, but that was on purpose, cause now I can go a lot steeper down, so I can gain more velocity. I hope it paid off, but I'm not entirely sure. Again, flying close to the ground through the third to last, jeez. The third to last checkpoint, we are in the last one before the finish line. Low to the ground and approaching fast. There's gotta be something I can do to, actually there's not. So, this is a really quick, fun craft to fly, and I think I'm gonna actually move this to my personal save and have a go with it there. Maybe even bring it into base race if I do that again. Before I go to the next one, I'm gonna see what just as I thought. The Elevon 1s, yeah, that's right. The Elevon 1s on the main wing are set to only roll. That's a really good thing, but there is no yaw control, and the winglets are following suit, except they're for pitch. I don't really care about yaw control. I don't really know of anyone who uses it that much, so yeah, it's a really good plane, easy to fly, quick, extremely quick for Weasleys, actually. And I'm just gonna load up the next plane and see you there. I think this one's gonna be the record, though, at least for this episode. And I am back once again with the Miss Miggy, again by XL Jedi, the guy who made the count from last week. I've checked the action groups, and, there it is. Action Group 3 deploys the central Elevon 4s to give it a little extra lift. I believe they're called flaps, but I'm not entirely sure. I just know they're control surfaces of some sort. Oh, while I was busy looking at my keyboard, I have managed to crash it into the ground. And of course, one piece of the plane survived. Okay, just revert to launch. So, as I was saying, after being so rudely interrupted by myself being a complete potato pilot, this plane is made by the same guy who made the count from last week, that of course being XL Jedi. I've noticed it's a lot less twitchy than the count, which is a good thing, and I've already said that. The action groups deploy the Elevons. Anyway, it's a lot less twitchy, and it's made from one of those rocking vehicle rides you find at Toys R Us, or at least you used to. I haven't been there in a while, so I don't really know. All I know is I used to love those things as a kid. And we have crossed the finish line at roughly 36 seconds, and we're angling for the first turn. On the Kerbal X page, it said that Val refused to get in this thing, but it appears that after what must have been hours upon hours of nagging, she's finally agreed to fly the thing. And, yeah, just approaching the first turn, I'm descending a little too much. Now, it's a really fast plane, but I do notice a couple of things that I'd maybe change. First of all, it doesn't need this many intakes, although maybe it does on lathe or higher in the air, I'm not quite sure. But, well, that and that antenna, I'm pretty sure nowadays it'll get ripped off by the atmosphere. But, style is style, I guess. Whoops, just hit the F1 button. I'll come back and get the screenshot after the video, probably. Whoa, okay. It's still a tad twitchy, but that's fine. In fact, I think that helped me there. I'm just gonna roll a little to the right, and this thing keeps wanting to pitch down. I'm not entirely sure why. That came out a little weird. What else? Oh, I got a new keyboard, as I said in the last video, and I'm not sure if you can hear it more or less or what, but in real life, like in person, it's a lot louder than my old one, so tell me if you want that to change. I actually made a profile in the time between videos for it. It's like a shockwave of blue, orange, red, orange, and then blue again, with the same thing changing in a gradient in the background. I've got the SAS, gear, RCS, etc. keys lighting up, so if you see on the nav ball, if you saw on the nav ball, I have RCS. The R key on my keyboard is now green, and if I reset the action groups first, the T key would be green and blue when SAS is on. Space is orange, so is brakes, etc. Just gonna go ahead and revert to launch and try that again. I think I'll reduce the sensitivity on the elevons this time, or at least the roll ones, because that seems to be what's killing me. Oh, and I'm gonna reset these action groups while I can. Okay. Let's see, authority limiter to about 50, that should do it. And just deploying the central elevons, flaps, whatever they're called, and zooming out the wrong way. Gear have been retracted, as have the elevons, and I'm actually gonna double back a little and gain a little more speed before the beginning, like before I cross the starting line. That's totally legal as far as I know, and this challenge, well, I created it, so in this case, so I guess I can make the rules. I kind of want to have the 4 air races on rotation, like week 1, well, every 4 weeks. The first time, it'll be the air race at KSC. Week 2 is, what is this, Black Krags. Next, it'll be Thundered's, and then Scott Manley's air race. I think the most challenging one, by far, is going to be Scott's air race, because it's a lot more technical than everything else, and it's also a lot closer together. Oh, and if I sound a little off this week, it's because I'm just getting over a cold, and yeah, I'm still kind of stuffed up. I'm doing my best not to sniff in, though. Okay, we're finally approaching the starting line, and we're across at roughly a minute 12 seconds, and already headed toward the ground. These really need to be less sensitive. In fact, I'm going to disable them altogether and rely on the cockpit. Actually, that may be a bit of a bad idea. Only time shall tell. Actually, I'll re-enable those. They seem to be good now at about 26. I think that's what I set it to. Somewhere in the 20s or 30s. It is a little less, well, it is a little harder to control on pitch now, I'm finding. Or maybe that's just my imagination. It's probably because there's less stuff to counter the momentum and inertia, or whatever it's called. Because it's not compensating for roll with aerodynamics as much. So rolling a little to the right to move over, so I can hopefully take a better line here. I want to be able to cut in soon, so I can approach this gate faster, and align better for the next turn. Rolling a little to the left this time, and getting ready for the next one. I'm gonna try and get here a little close to the left one. That way I can just, it's more or less a car race, except it's planes, and there's only one. Because there's no multiplayer, and that would be a disaster in real life. I'm gonna try and cut it a little close to this hill, and I've just realized I've spent most of this race rolled sharply to one side or another, and the finish line is in sight. I think the next checkpoint's a little to the right, but there's not exactly much I can do. Yeah, it's down here. Not much I could do because of that hill, and it's kind of hard to zoom out from here and get a good camera angle without sacrificing view of the plane and the immediate surroundings. I know the next checkpoint's down a little, but not that close. Don't want to crash into the terrain again. I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but the aluminum butterfly speed build video, I did the same air race, or yeah, it was the butterfly. I did this same air race, and I failed horribly a couple of times while recording. I eventually just got tired and used the best one I could. After, I think that was about the third attempt, I made a total of 10. In this case, I think this is also my third attempt. And if everything goes right, we are going to cross the finish line in 3, 2, 1. Whoa. So yeah, that was the Miss Miggy, again by XL Jedi. It's really fast and kind of and a little over-responsive. I bet it would be great in an aerial dogfight though, just because it's so tiny and honestly pretty twitchy but still controllable. If there's one thing I'd change, it's definitely getting rid of that antenna, and also maybe getting rid of one of these intakes. You don't need all of them. And this is probably gonna hurt. Oh wow, I survived that. Yeah, that counts as surviving. And back with the third and probably not final contestant, the Racer 1, built by me. Kerbin-Side links to everything in this video will be in the description, as well as any music and videos and stuff I recommend in this video. It's a twin-engine aircraft like, I think, yeah, every craft so far in this video, and it's based extremely loosely on the SR-71 Blackbird, crossing the line at about 43 seconds. I don't really have much to say about this, except it's ejectable and really rather fast. It incorporates some fighter jet motifs, as well as just really fast, speed-based plane ones. Like, I don't know what the slim wings, I think. Not, like, you know, I don't know what I'm saying. The first one, which, wow, Weasley Racer, had really long, short wings. More aerodynamic wings is what I'm trying to say with mine. And I have massively overshot that. A redesign may be in order. Eject. Oh crap, I forgot to set the shutdown engines action group. I'll be right back, guys. And I'm back. I've made a couple of modifications to the Racer, and, well, really those are only setting a few action groups, well, the abort action group to shut down the intakes and engines, and replacing the, I believe it was basic fin, no, not basic fins, the one time I actually need this information, the sort of crappy Delta fins, Delta Deluxe fins, wings, whatever. Delta Wing, you know what I mean, Delta Deluxe something, I think. Replacing those with, I think these are advanced standard canards, actually. So, yeah, that should hopefully improve maneuverability, but not lead to rapid unscheduled disassembly, or unplanned disassembly. Rolling into the first turn already, I have quite a bit of speed that I'm probably going to need to bleed off for the next one. Well, struggling to regain control here. Now, the intakes kind of remind me of some of the mounted weapons you'll see in the ships in Destiny. And I really, really wish you could actually use those ships and therefore those weapons, instead of them being purely cosmetic. I hope that's in Destiny 2, but going back to the topic at hand. This craft has only a single air brake, but that should be more than enough for most tasks. And the part I found most unique, find most unique about it, is this little, I like to call it a cobra tail, but I don't really know what it is. It's just these little elevons I've added as wings. I think they're called chines, actually. Now, how's the frame rate on your end? I got a pretty big parts mod, Airplane Plus. I don't plan on having it in this video, but maybe next. I might build a prop plane or something. But how's the frame rate on your end? It's fine here, albeit the game is a tiny bit slower. You'll see the yellow numbers up top, but at this point I think it's only a benefit, really. You have more time to react, and it's not exactly slow. Close to the ground, we're already there at just over 2 minutes, crossing the line at 2:09. Wow. So, yeah, that's the Racer 1, and I feel like this video's a little short. I'm gonna go find another plane and see you there. And I'm back with what's gonna be the final craft for this episode. And I just realized I forgot to reopen the intake. Something you may or may not have found with a lot of my craft is that the intakes always seem to be closed. That's because in the version I played, or at least before I got this computer, there was also intake atmosphere, which more or less just added another intake and a new resource together. It was useful for only a couple of things, which I really liked, but it also adds mass, so I decided I'd just get rid of that. Something they could do, I forget exactly who makes the mod, but something they could do is just give intake air no mass, and give intake atmosphere the mass of intake air, which I think they've already done. Well, that latter bit, the mass of, no, intake air still has mass. That would make it so you still gather it on other planets and have the mass from that, but you wouldn't have to worry about Kerbal X compatibility and stuff. Also, can I take my helmet off? Inventory, yes I can, but I hit the wrong button. Oh, by the way, this craft is the Ocelot 1.1.1. That's because the first version had a single landing gear on the front instead of the double gear it has now, because it was weirdly aligned and would cause massive explosions on landing every single time. And also, so I fixed that, and that was 1.1, and then I added the whole launch structure you just saw in the beginning for 1.1.1, because there's this mod called Take Command. I have it on my Mac, which is where this plane was built, and that lets Kerbals spawn in EVA seats, like, in my opinion, they should already. Except I don't have that here, so I had to make that whole launch structure, or the plane would still be sitting on the runway, probably falling off about right now. So yeah, that's why that's a thing. And, that's really it. Oh yeah, it's got an abort system like everything else, well, like it was on the Racer, which is just cockpit ejects, engine shut off, intake shut off. And that just gets everything clear and ready for launch, well, ready for escape. And wow, this looks pretty. I might just get the screenshot now. Nah, I'll do it later. How much time? What time is it?
It was last week, I remember. I think it was April 26th or 27th.
And I'm back with what's going to be the last plane for this episode. The Ocelot 1.1.1. Gonna have to reopen that intake, cause mod quirks. Anyway, the reason it's 1.1.1 is because it's sort of hard to see here. I'll zoom in a bit. This front landing gear used to be unbalanced with just one wheel to the side, and so I had to change that. It's a weird Kerbal Foundries mod quirk. And then, because I don't have the Take Command mod here, I had to build this whole launch structure with the SRBs and clamp and, what is that? A lander can, just to get it into the air. I probably would have needed some of that anyway, just because of the runway being so short, but yeah, just went full on anyway. Yeah, it's a bit of an old-timey looking plane with some more modern techniques, like lowered center of thrust relative to the center of mass, and I just remembered I can take my helmet off if I can remember the right button this time. Okay, finally. Now, you probably don't recognize this cockpit. That's because it's a custom one from the, Structural Tubing mod by DK Salvage. I'm not sure if the mod's still being worked on, but it's a simple parts mod and it works in 1.1, which is, 1.2, which is what it was made for, and it just still works, and I'd highly recommend downloading it, especially if you like building rovers or planes like this, or really anything that'll need to survive a crash, which knowing KSP is pretty much everything. Anyway, approaching the first turn, I'm going to start to pull up a bit and roll. The one thing I will say about this cockpit is it definitely does slow me down with aerodynamic drag. But that's okay, it's not really meant to be all that fast of a plane, more of a just fly it around for fun or maybe in a battle. Whatever. It is extremely safe on landing though. Well, landing and crashing because of the cockpit. Though a helmet would probably be a good idea in real life. Well, a little too close to the ground there. Okay, just gonna follow the normal line, but roll a little more. Okay. And I did not realize just how huge those cones are till now. What's the proper name? Just cones? I don't know. And that was a weird shadow being cast by that tree. Almost crashed into the ground. I feel like without all these obstacles that... Actually, no, they're not there. I feel like this would be a great place to build, like, a sledding arena for the, hover pads, repulsors, whatever you call them, in the Kerbal Foundries mod. Anyway, rounding the major corner, and I think I went a little too high there. This plane isn't really going to do well on the leaderboard anyway, but I might as well take the right line. How loud is... Oh, sorry about that noise. My mom just got back. What's it called? I've lost my train of thought. How loud is my keyboard, by the way? I mean, it's loud on my end, but has it gotten any louder from the last time I asked? I just want to know, so I know whether to use it or not next time. Where is my other one, anyway? Whatever. So approaching, I'm pretty sure this is the 4th to last checkpoint. I don't really know. But approaching it with more or less the normal line, I'm gonna start to pitch up and... Okay, this looks about right. Okay, so... Oh, there are clouds. So this is probably my favorite air race for looks, but it's not exactly... Well, it's rather technical... It's just not my favorite air race for, like, just flying. Whoa, that was close. Almost crashed into the hill again. I have to pay more attention with this. Did I survive? Yes, I did, but, oh, yeah, I'm gonna keep surviving. Watch, I'm gonna be ejected from the solar system in 3, 2, 1, and, or not. Okay, let's try that again. And approaching the starting line for hopefully the last time. Probably going to be able to make it now that I really feel the plane again. Well, that is if I don't immediately crash into the ground. Okay, just going to align a little better with this first checkpoint. Okay, this looks about right. So, I'm not quite sure what it is, but the plane wants to nose down a little. I'm gonna... I'll adjust the trim a little by holding Alt and S. Well, holding Alt and tapping S. Now, I'm not sure how much that did, but it certainly feels a little better, though that might be placebo. Aligning, well, no. Rolling and getting ready for the first ascent into the mountains. Okay, past the first checkpoint and heading to the next. The slight ascent is proving relatively easy for this craft, but only time will tell how it'll respond to the descent. It'll probably be slow as hell, because the cockpit is not very good for aerodynamics at all. Well, shite. Well, restart. Regardless of whether I make it, I think this is going to be my last attempt, because I've been recording for, it feels like a while now, and I want to do something else before I have to go to bed. It's approximately 10:32 right now, and I started at, like 8, 9 maybe? Around then. Excuse me. So, I think about the top speed for this in level flight is roughly 130. Just gonna trim a little, and yeah, this seems about right. Now, the DK salvage mod, I'm not sure if it's, well, no, I've already said that. What else? It's an old-timey fighter. I hear there's a new KSP version coming out soon, 1.2.9, where 1.2.3 through 8 went. I don't think we'll ever know, but whoa, I should not be looking at my note card at this point. I've got a little note card that says things to talk about and stuff. I think I've exhausted everything. Yeah, pretty much everything. I don't know what told me to do this race above the others, but this is just extremely pretty. Here, I'll go and turn off the HUD. Oh, the F2 key screen. Cool. Yeah, with the moon and everything. Sorry about that lag spike. My computer does not like me taking screenshots. It may or may not be the thumbnail. Only time will tell. Approaching for the hard turn, and that went relatively seamlessly. These trees are just holograms, so you can fly right through them, just like these cones. I want to fly level or downward here so I can get a little extra speed. This plane, while it does have a sorta high thrust to weight ratio, it's not all that good at this stuff. It's more of just like fly it around or maybe fight with it. It's not a racer, in other words. And it's not fast either, as I've already said. But man, I just love flying this thing. Except, well, when speed's required. Pretty sure this is... No, I've made it a little farther. Like, here and all the way down back there, down the hill, just in the way I came from. I feel like this would make a great sledding course. In fact, I might try that after this. If it's cool enough, I might make a video. Well, pull up, pull up. That was rather close. And it's all downhill from here. Lining up with the next checkpoint, and I am coming way too close to the ground. Pull up. Okay. This looks cool too. I know they don't have to, but the front elevons, which make up really a canard basically, are connected with a piece of structural tubing. I mean, it fits and it makes it look just a little better, so why not? Now, approaching well, this is the third to last checkpoint, and I'm just gonna go literally through it, just to demonstrate that those cones are holograms. And it's just a straight shoot from here, I hope. Yeah, looks like it. Oh, no, it's not. Oh. Huh, guess this is the root part. I know something survived. But that something is not Val. I said it's safe, not indestructible. Figured I'd just go ahead and demonstrate the abort system properly, instead of just crashing and hoping I survive. Now, the root part, or at least the focus part, I think is this fuel tank. I'm not entirely sure why I made it that way, but I did. So I'm just going to hit the abort key and swap on over to the cockpit. Now, this is a slightly weird one because it uses a drogue chute. The reason for that is to cut down on weight, open up the cockpit a little more, and get it down out of the line of fire fast in case of, in a battle. Because, well, yeah, so it's not getting shot at. And since the cockpit is way more durable than it would normally be, that's totally fine. It's also a lot lighter, so yeah, that just works. I feel like there's gonna be a good thumbnail eventually. Don't think I'll ever stop. Well, see ya. Like, subscribe, etc. Links in the description. Firehard out.